What's up, you guys? This is Fang/VA here, coming at you with a new Gaming Wednesday video. And in today's video, I'm feeling nostalgic for the good old 90s. Lately, I've been in a 90s gaming mood. Doesn't matter what console it is. Doesn't matter if it's Super Nintendo, Genesis, TurboGrafx 16, heck, kind of the NES, because the NES was still getting some new games in the 90s. The Sega Saturn, the Dreamcast, the PlayStation, the Game Boy, especially the Game Boy Color, the Nintendo 64, the Atari Jaguar. Like I said, I've been really being nostalgic for the 90s, as per usual. But anyways, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and definitely hit that bell button to get all of my videos in your subscription box. I don't know why I worded it that strongly. And like I said in the previous video, I now have a Throne account. So, yeah. If you all wanna, if you all want to reach out and just provide me with a little gifty, then hey, that will be much appreciated. Like I said, I'm not just going to, like with donations, of course, that's your guys' choice. I'll get the items on that list eventually, either way. So, thank you all so much for the support anyways. Well, always. I'm wording things wrong in this video, my apologies. But what has made me kinda become super nostalgic for the 90s is because I've been playing a very awesome remake of a game that really did show people that Mario could fit in really in anything. And that, of course, is the Super Mario RPG remake on the Switch. And I can gladly say at the time of this video, I have completed the main story. I'm now going back to do everything else, which shouldn't be that hard because the game is pretty linear. It's not your typical RPG, 90s RPG. You can pretty much figure out stuff on your own in this game, which is not a slight against it. In my opinion, easy, quote-unquote, easy games does not equal bad. And so naturally, some people may be wondering, did I grow up with this game? No. Some people may be like, then why could that game make you nostalgic? It's because for me, I'm happy when any 90s game or franchise comes back in some sort of way. Either a remake, a port, a collection, a reboot. So, even though that I may not have played a certain game, I'm always rooting for these 90s franchises to make a comeback. And of course, there's also the fact that there are also games I want them to come back, like the Hydro Thunder series, because I would love a port of the original game. Are we going to get that? Probably not. Which is why I will always support physical media. This is also why I will also support emulation. Because until every game is freaking available on the current hardware and is able to be ported to future hardware with no issues, then yeah, you're not going to be seeing me switch over to digital. And also the fact that there's also the risk of them taking away my purchases, like what Sony's been doing with movies. And also Apple's been known to do this too. So really, in the digital age, you don't actually, quote-unquote, own anything. But rant aside, you know, playing through this game is just, I don't know why, it just put a big smile on my face. You know, naturally, I am a massive Mario fan. I love the Mario franchise to death. And I've always loved the fact that Mario has had so many different RPG type games, but you know, the Paper Mario series and the Mario and Luigi series of RPGs, at the end of the day, they go back to the OG, which was Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. And when this remake was announced at the, I think it was the last Nintendo Direct, I'm pretty sure that there probably will be a chibi Mizu popping up telling me when it was actually announced, but I'm pretty sure it was the last Direct of the year. They announced that, and then they also announced a remaster of Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. You know, that's a perfect two-hit punch right there. You know, to many people, Thousand Year Door is like the peak Mario RPG experience. You know, and to many people, after Thousand Year Door, I mean, Super Paper Mario, depending on who you ask, is either a good game, a okay game, or B, it's not the proper sequel to A Thousand Year Door that I was hoping. And then basically the Paper Mario series basically became a bit of a joke to many Mario fans and also RPG fans. But a lot of Paper Mario's DNA and also the Mario and Luigi series DNA is in this original Mario RPG adventure. And you know, it's just made me realize, also playing this, that if you all remember, I think about a couple weeks ago, I made a video about how I think that turn-based RPGs could still find a place in the modern AAA world, because there's many proof of it. You know, there's many, well, not proof, there's many games are coming out that's turn-based that's proven that point. And Mario RPG and the Mario RPG remake proves that in 2023/2024 that turn-based RPGs can still work. Despite a lot of these bigger, iconic legacy franchises going towards action RPGs, you know, style gameplay like Final Fantasy, and people are also thinking Dragon Quest is going to go that direction, which, as I said in that previous video, I don't want that, because I don't want everything to be action-based. Like, for me, I like action RPGs, but I find, as weirdly as it is, I find turn-based to be a bit more relaxing. You know, playing through Mario RPG, I was playing it mainly in handheld mode. I barely put my Switch on the dock unless it needed to be charged. And really, this is probably the first non-Sonic game that I've actually beaten in a while in this span amount of time. Now, granted, I just beat the main story. I'm going to go back and complete everything else. You know, and I loved all the Super Mario World, like, influences in this game too, because obviously at that point, you know, the newest mainline Mario game at that time would have been Super Mario World, I believe, because Yoshi's Island, while being very good, is not really often considered as a mainline Mario game. It's considered a spin-off, even though that it has the name Super Mario World 2 in it. But that was probably for a marketing reason, I would imagine. You know, and actually, I was so loving playing this, I was actually trying to find a way that I could use like one of my Super Nintendo Classic controllers to actually play it, or to play that controller on my Switch, because like I said, I was feeling super nostalgic. I didn't want to use modern controllers for that game. You know, I felt like I needed to play this with that original Super Nintendo controller. You know, it's like meeting the old and new. But I also did a bit of I also did something that felt very wrong. I actually used my Retrobit Sega Genesis wireless 6-button controller to play that game a little bit, and it felt wrong. Oh my god, it felt so wrong. It felt like I was committing a crime or something. You know, it's that kid in me. It's that Nintendo fanboy in me clashing with the freaking, you know, Sega fanboy in me. I mean, heck, like, you know, throughout this whole week, I've been watching videos on like ways you can use like classic controllers, like retro controllers on modern hardware, and you know, I've been getting into that whole thing anyways, because I do plan on eventually. Once I'm able to, I want to hook up all my consoles to where I can just switch between them, especially for streaming, because I, for one, would love to stream off my original Super Nintendo. Which I do know I'm going to get that Super Nintendo cleaned, because mine has suffered the yellowing problem. And you know, it's going to take time. I'm going to need to figure out room, and who knows, I may not be able to do that until I've probably moving out, when I ever do. Although right now, probably Mizu, who has a big smirk while she's having me recording this, because she probably knows where I want to move to. Well, more like who I want to move in with. But that's also why I've really been looking into like getting like a emulation console from like Chris Cool Mods, because this way, when I stream, if it's a game I own but I don't have access to play it, then I can just load it off there, which is also why, too, like, I gotta finish that order. Oh my god, what happened last year with all those different things that I was supposed to get but I didn't get, that could be its own freaking video. And actually, what's funny is I think I did make that into a video. You know, it's just probably to a lot of you, peeps out there that grew up with the GameCube and, heck, even maybe the PS3 era and / the 360 era. You probably know what I'm talking about, to where there are certain games that you just have to play with that certain controller. Or B, like you, or B, you guys probably also get super nostalgic for that early to mid or like late 2000s of gaming. Just like I do with the 90s and the early 2000s. You know? let me tell you another story. The only not GameCube, the only Game Boy Color that I've ever owned was actually one that was actually supposed to be for my it was actually my sister's, but I mainly played it. Actually, I don't remember if she had any games for that system either. I know that she had games for her Game Boy Advance SP, but I don't remember her having one for that Game Boy Color. But I did, and obviously, you know, I got caught in the whole Pokemon boom during that time. So I remember all the time sitting on the front porch of my house and just playing Pokemon Silver. I would play it all day sometimes. I would play it before I went to school. I would, you know, I would play it obviously in the car, even though that you couldn't see anything. So what you had to do was you had to lift that sucker up, and hopefully there's a car behind you with a bright enough light to where you can see what the heck you're doing. Now, naturally, I now know that they made, like, you know, certain accessories to where it does put a light on there, but again, I didn't know. You know, I've always was like that. It's like I didn't care if I had the top of the line thing. Really, I was just happy. Well, okay, that's a bunch of BS. I want the best thing, especially when it comes to technology. But with gaming, you know, there is something about getting that launch console, isn't there? Knowing that you have the first. You know, my PS4 is a launch PS4 basically. My Switch is a launch Switch. My Xbox One Series X is a launch, is basically, unless I'm wrong, is basically a freaking launch Xbox One Series X. And I've also had some of the OG Xbox 360s. And my Game Boy Advance SP was the freaking first one that they did. I had the first DS. You know, it's just interesting. The more that I get into, the retro gaming scene, the more I'm inspired to really get my retro collection going again. Because really, it's like, you know, most people, they just put their NES or the Super Nintendo in a box and just, you know, put it up in the attic or just sell it because they don't need it anymore. But what people don't realize that nowadays, there's companies allowing these consoles to live on. There are people making accessories for them. They're making ways that we can, when we upgrade our TVs, there's companies out there that is helping us be able to do that. And the thing is that to the retro community, emulation is very important because it's the only way to really preserve games. You know, it's amazing how much that retro gaming is still, you know, how much my childhood is basically still very much alive in 2024. Because we have Analog putting out the Super NT, and if people are wondering, yes, I do have one. because that's my childhood. And that would also make it easy for me to that would also help me, you know, stream Super Nintendo games a lot easier. Number two, it's using a FPGA. And for people that don't understand what that is, it's different than emulation. If I remember what the term is that FPGAs are basically like you're playing on the actual hardware itself. Basically, that they reverse engineered certain aspects of a console and recreated it. And I get the feeling eventually there's going to be Analog putting out like a version of like the first PlayStation. And when that day comes, I'm going to be one of the first. I'm going to make sure I'm going to be the first person to get one. I'm sorry for all you people that scoff at how bad PS1 games look compared to nowadays, which is true. I see those old games. Well, not old games. I see those classic early 3D games, and I just get good memories from them. I'm sorry. I'm not a video game snob. You will never see me diss a freaking era of video gaming, because everyone's first video game something could be anywhere. Heck, some of you that could be watching this right now, you probably remember playing Pong when it first came out. We all start somewhere, and I started with the Super Nintendo and the first PlayStation and the Game Boy Color. And and if people are, and I may end up doing this, I may end up, when I start updating once I start getting everything going to where I'm able to hook up all my OG consoles and controllers and all that, well, not controllers, like OG consoles to a TV, and I might even go even more old school. I might try to get myself a CTR TV. I mean, why not? I mean, especially with like light gun games, those don't work on modern displays. So I would need a retro TV to make it work. It's just. Does any of you remember those old like monitors to where like you like flipped, you like open it up and there's like two speakers on the side and like there's the screen? I might get one of those actually. I would imagine they're probably not that much expensive nowadays. And actually, as crazy as an idea as this is, I've also thought about just buying all my childhood consoles new. Why not? Just to like experience some of those memories again. Go back to the 90s for a day. Wouldn't that be cool? But yeah, you guys, that's all for this video. I hope you all enjoyed reminiscing with me. And I do know in 2024 I'm really gonna push making videos doing reviews and doing videos on like unboxings of different video game stuff. So yeah. And also too, look out for the DDC channel, Jones94, because that channel is going to be coming back strongly. So, but yeah, you guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace out.